First on the Gulf Coast with breaking news and weather. Fox 10 Midday starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome into Fox 10 Midday. Happy Friday to you. We finally made it to the weekend and we're so glad you're spending time with us. I'm Ashley Mitchell. Well, it is expected to be a bitterly cold weekend ahead as we've been talking, and we will check in with meteorologist Hannah Fink soon for those numbers in just a moment. But first, yeah, the good times are returning to downtown Mobile tonight. We are now less than 7 hours from the Conde Cavaliers getting things kicked off in the port city. Lee Peck is downtown where preparations have been made. Lee, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, we are ready for the boom boom. The stage is set. Of course, you see the barricades out. They've been out for weeks here along the parade route. Empty right now, but expect thousands of people, despite the chilly temperatures, to come out tonight and watch the Condes roll. Of course, this is a big night. This is what sets the party started. They get the party started here in the port city for 2.5 weeks of non-stop fun. Of course, more than 40 parades will roll between now and Fat Tuesday, which this year falls on February 17th. Of course, one of my favorite things about Mardi Gras coverage here in the port city is actually covering those nighttime parades. Well, switching shifts to the morning show, I will not be covering those evening parades. Maybe I'll get to enjoy them this year, but always a fun time. It was something I always look forward to. Take a listen to some of the fun people that I met along the parade route last year.
They're beautiful, the lights and the people, and they throw so much.
I love the moon pies. I love that we call it the boom boom, and I love being on camera on Fox 10.
He enjoys being on Fox 10. We enjoy doing that coverage. And even though I will not be covering the nighttime parades, I will be a part of Fox 10's live Fat Tuesday coverage. It's one of those days where it's all hands on deck. It's a long day, it's a fun day, but it's something we all certainly look forward to. On the parade route, happy Mardi Gras. Lee Peck, Fox 10 News.
All right, Lee, thank you. It's great to see you back in your element out there. The best way to make sure you're ready for Mardi Gras this year is by downloading the free Fox 10 Float Tracker app. It lets you know where the start of the parade is at any given time. You can also find parade routes, a full schedule, and weather forecasts, of course. The Fox 10 Float Tracker app is available right now, and you can find it in the Apple app and Google Play stores. And by the way, if you can't physically make it out to the parades, no worries. We will be streaming the parades on the Gulfstream app, which you can download on your Samsung, Apple, Roku, or Amazon TV. And that will continue all the way up until Fat Tuesday. Hannah, I can't believe it's already here.
I know. I feel like the last year has flown by. Christmas,
Yeah.
I feel like hasn't even happened at this point.
I agree. Like, what happened in the past couple of months?
Now we're in Mardi Gras.
That's so
This is
true.
insane.
And we have a cold start to this year's for sure.
I know. I'm not happy about it, y'all, but it looks like this is the last weekend. We may have to get through it. We're seeing a warm up in our 7-day forecast, but this weekend, not looking all that great. But today, though, this is probably the only time you'll be able to enjoy it in the next 3 days. It's going to be in the upper 50s today. As you can see at the beach, 61 degrees at Orange Beach and 60 in D'Iberville, Mississippi. Mid-60s right now in downtown Mobile. And we're seeing a little bit of cloud coverage. That's because we have a cold front approaching our area. So that's going to stay pretty consistent through the afternoon. Our temperatures right now across the area, 60 degrees in Mobile, 58 in Pensacola, 58 in Crestview, 58 in Atmore, 50 in Grove Hill, 55 in Lucedale, and 56 degrees over in Calvert. And our dew points, they are in that dry category, but they have increased a little bit, especially since yesterday. We were in the 20s and 30s for our dew points. Now we're in the 40s, and we're going to see an increase in our dew points as that cold front approaches. But with them being so dry, this is going to contribute to our feels like temperature with those gusty winds in dry conditions, especially into this weekend. We're going to have a 20-degree difference compared to the actual air temperature outside. But today, you're going to want to enjoy the warmth. I'm telling you, it's not going to feel great this weekend. Upper 50s during the afternoon hours, 58 degrees by 1 o'clock, 55 degrees by 4 p.m., 52 degrees by 5 p.m. Then we're back into the 40s once that sun goes down, and it's going to get chilly fast tonight, y'all. So this afternoon, definitely going to want to get out and enjoy the weather. It's going to be like more of a light jacket, long sleeve kind of day, but cloudy conditions out there, maybe a peak of sunshine here and there throughout the afternoon. But the big thing we're going to be talking about is the fact that we have storm tracker alert days set for both Saturday and Sunday. We have that second Arctic blast moving through tonight. It's going to be way colder than last weekend, and it's going to bring us dangerously cold wind chill values for Saturday as well as Sunday. The air temperature is going to be in the upper teens and lower 20s, but the actual feels like temperature is going to be lower than 10 degrees on both Saturday and Sunday. So this is the time to prepare. Make sure you protect your people, pets, plants, as well as your pipes. And a lot of outdoor activities are going on this weekend. So this is very important. The National Weather Service has issued an extreme cold warning tonight lasting through noon Sunday. This is because a hard freeze is possible across the entirety of the area. This is a long time exposure to the cold, dangerously cold wind chill values below 10 degrees. So like I mentioned, a lot's going on. We have the Senior Bowl and we have parades. So this is the time to really kind of figure out what you need to be wearing, how many times you need to take breaks in the warm or just inside, and also maybe just canceling some plans if you had any outdoor plans as well, because hypothermia becomes a concern with long-term exposure, and also your pipes become at risk as well. So if your weekend forecast, storm tracker alert days for both Saturday and Sunday, extreme wind chill values, gusts to 20 to 30 miles per hour. There's going to be days where around there's going to be hours where we're closer to 40 mile per hour wind gusts. So make sure you wear multiple layers. Hard freeze in the morning on Sunday, single digit wind chill temperatures, so cold throughout the entirety of this weekend. I'll break down everything you need to know and overall details coming up in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Hannah. In our headlines this morning, the White House and Senate Democrats coming together to make a rare agreement. They've decided to separate a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security. DHS funding would run out in 2 weeks. But this compromise likely wasn't enough to avert a government shutdown. Fox's Jared Halpern explains why.
We will stay the course as it relates to making sure that we actually fund the government in a manner that is consistent with our values.
A partial government shutdown this weekend is now all but certain, even as the White House and Senate Democrats have a rare agreement to separate funding for the Department of Homeland Security from the rest of the spending package. The idea is to keep the federal government open while lawmakers work through that one controversial spending bill at issue. Both House and Senate Democrats say they won't support the DHS funding measure unless it includes major reforms to ICE.
We cannot and will not move the DHS bill without real progress on accountability. ICE and CBP are out of control.
Several Republicans say they are open to considering changes to ICE operations in the wake of the Minnesota shootings.
The vast majority of Americans still want the worst of the worst located, restrained, taken in, and deported. It's Republicans, Democrats, and others. The disagreement right now is the way it is being done. That's a valid disagreement to have.
The logistical problem is that splitting off the DHS funding bill sent 5 other spending measures back to the House, which currently is out of session. But Speaker Mike Johnson says he'd bring members back as soon as possible.
So it's possible they can come on Sunday?
The last government shutdown lasted 43 days. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Well, after months of speculation, President Trump named Kevin Warsh as his pick to head the Federal Reserve Friday, saying Warsh, quote, will go down as one of the great Fed chairmen, maybe the best, end quote. Warsh is a visiting fellow in economics at Stanford University, and he served as a Fed governor from 2006 to 2011, the youngest in history, by the way, and was a finalist for chairman in 2017. If confirmed by the Senate, Warsh would replace Jerome Powell. He's been considered a hawk on inflation, but Warsh recently supported lowering rates and criticized the Fed.
I think what we need is regime change at the Fed, and that's not just about the chairman. It's about a whole range of people. It's about changing their mindset and their models.
Powell's term is set to end in May. In the meantime, journalist Don Lemon has been arrested. The former CNN anchor was taken into custody by federal authorities just after midnight in Los Angeles, all stemming from Lemon's reporting of a protest inside a Minnesota church last week. Demonstrators arrived at the church service because the pastor allegedly also works for ICE. Lemon was in Minnesota covering the immigration crackdown and protests as an independent journalist. The Justice Department pledged to bring charges against him. Lemon's attorney, Abe Lowell, said Lemon would fight the charges. Turning to our local headlines now, several dogs are now out of harm's way after Foley police arrest 2 men on animal cruelty charges. Now, this all unfolded in the 18,000 block of Airport Road in Foley. Investigators say officers and Baldwin County Animal Control seized 8 dogs from that location. Foley police also say social media posts expose the poor conditions of the dogs and raise concerns about other possible cases of animal cruelty. The 2 men arrested are Frederick Robinson and Marcus Lamont McMillan. But here's where this story takes a turn. A man claiming to be Marcus McMillan called Fox 10 to defend himself. He told us he and Robinson were wrongfully arrested. McMillan says he rescues stray dogs in the neighborhood and that he and Robinson plan to plead not guilty at their February court hearing. Meanwhile, Foley police are continuing their investigation in partnership with Animal Control, and we will update you on that case as we learn more. Meanwhile, attorneys for the federal government are asking a judge to throw out most of a lawsuit that alleges Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers exceeded their authority in detaining a U.S. citizen in Baldwin County. Leo Venegas filed the lawsuit in September. And according to the allegations, ICE raided the construction site where he was working in May and allegedly refused to accept his ID as real. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Mobile submitted 2 filings, arguing all but 2 counts be dismissed. Attorneys for Venegas are seeking a court order prohibiting unconstitutional detention policies and warrantless entry policies. The government maintains, though, those policies don't exist. Still to come on Fox 10 Midday, today is a historic day for cold weather in Mobile. We're taking a look back. Plus, Japan setting a new record for snowfall today. Hannah, it's great to see the sun here after this video on our screen, for sure.
You can say that again, but it is going to be cold this weekend. Here are some tips on how to stay warm this overall weekend with multiple outdoor activities. Make sure you layer up, cover your exposed skin using hat, gloves, and scarves. Keep your hands and feet dry and warm up often by taking breaks indoors to help yourself from any long-term exposure to the cold. There are multiple things you can do by going to Amazon or just making sure you layer up with your hoodies and those windbreakers for any Mardi Gras parades this weekend. Don't go anywhere. We'll have more on your forecast coming up after this. Here is a live look outside at the beach right now. A little bit more sunshine near the coastline, but that's going to change as we go on throughout the afternoon. And not a surprise, not many people out and about with the cold weather. But today is pretty warm for the most part. But let's move on to our weather headlines. It's going to be a decent Friday afternoon for the most part. We're going to be in the upper 50s for our temperatures, but that's going to change literally like that. Cold front moves through later on tonight. This brings us huge weather changes, which means we will have storm tracker alert days this weekend for an Arctic blast moving through starting tonight. So let's talk about what's going on with the weather right now. Cloudy conditions throughout the entirety of the afternoon, 58 degrees by noon, 56 degrees by 3 p.m. Like I mentioned, we're going to see this increase in cloud coverage as that cold front approaches our area. And our forecast highs today, slightly below average by a few degrees, but we'll take the warmth where we can get it at this point. 59 for a high in Mobile, 64 in Pensacola, 60 in Bruton, 59 in Monroeville, 57 in Chatham, and 59 degrees over in Lucedale. And for this evening, it's going to be in the 50s until that sun goes down. 52 by 5 p.m. But once that sun goes down, we'll be back into the 40s, 48 degrees by 7 p.m., then 45 degrees by 9 p.m. With no chance for rain, we're just going to see some cloud coverage with this front and that Arctic blast. It's a dry Arctic front, which if anything, I'd rather take the rain than the cold temperatures at this point. And not only that, we're going to see an increase in our wind speeds as well. So it's going to feel a little colder than it actually is out there. So you're going to want to make sure you layer up for the parade. At 6:30 this evening, the Conde Cavaliers will be on Route A, 49 degrees with mostly cloudy skies, and the winds do pick up out of the north-northwest at 10 miles per hour. Wind gusts around 15 to 20 miles per hour. So make sure you layer up tonight. And going into this weekend. Storm tracker alert days for both Saturday and Sunday as that Arctic blast moves through tonight. This is going to be way colder than what we saw last weekend. Dangerously cold wind chill values for both Saturday and Sunday. Sunday being the worst for a majority of us will be in the single digits for those wind chill values. And our atmospheric temperature low to upper teens and low 20s for both Saturday and Sunday. This is your time to start preparing. Make sure you remember the 4 P's, which are people, pets, plants, as well as your pipes. And the National Weather Service is already on it. We have an extreme cold warning starting tonight, lasting until noon on Sunday. So this is for the entirety of the weekend, where hard freeze conditions will last throughout the entirety of the weekend in dangerous cold wind chill values below 10 degrees across the area. So those impacts include long duration hard freezes may impact your pipes, and with outdoor activities, hypothermia does become a concern, especially if you're outside for prolonged periods of time. So here's a look at those wind chill values over the weekend. This is Saturday morning. We'll have a feels like temperature of 7 degrees in Grove Hill, 12 in Mobile, and 16 in Pensacola. Keep in mind, these have been dropping over the last couple of days, so this could adjust a little bit more as we go into tomorrow morning. So what you're going to want to do for your overall Saturday, it's going to be the coldest day of the weekend, 37 degrees only for that air temperature. But the wind chill value is going to feel like 20 to 25 degrees because we're going to have 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So not only is it going to be very cold, it's going to be extremely windy. Winds out of the north-northwest at 20 to 30 miles per hour. That's the wind speed. Gusts are going to be about 35 to 40 miles per hour for our Saturday. So make sure you bundle up, especially going to the parades at 2 p.m. We'll be at 36 degrees with wind chills between 20 to 25 degrees. Then at 6:30 p.m., wind chills between 14 and 17 degrees with air temperature near 29 degrees. So not a great weekend to get out, but I know a lot of people are wanting to celebrate Mardi Gras and also the Senior Bowl. Then I mentioned Sunday being the worst morning. Well, it definitely is. 5 degrees for a feels like temperature in Grove Hill, 7 in Mobile, and 8 degrees over in Pensacola. So this is going to be a rough weekend, y'all. Overall, what we're seeing for our weekend forecast, storm tracker alert days on both Saturday and Sunday. Extreme wind chill values, wind gusts about 20 to 30 miles per hour. So make sure you wear multiple layers on both days. And we can see a hard freeze in the morning on Sunday morning and single-digit wind chill temperatures across the entirety of the area. Basically, it's going to be cold throughout the entirety of this weekend. So make sure you bundle up. You're going to want to keep those layers around too. For the 7-day forecast, we're going to stay quite cold throughout the weekend. A little chilly during the beginning parts of this week. Then our next system moves through on Wednesday, and thank goodness it's going to bring up a warm up to our area. Will be in the 60s during the day, and our morning lows will definitely be more bearable.
All right, looking forward to that forecast next week. Hannah, thanks for the update there. Like Hannah just said, that second Arctic blast is moving into our area overnight tonight and settling in for this weekend. Those temps, again, expected to feel like the single digits in many areas. Sarah Wall is looking at where you can go if you still need that warm place to stay. What experts are reminding us about how this frigid air can impact our health, and some cancellations and schedule changes due to the cold, because as you know, a lot going on in the port city and across the Gulf Coast this weekend. In Depth with Sarah Wall, incoming Arctic blast is available now on our Fox 10 Gulfstream TV app for free. All right, it's cold out there, but it's not as cold as this day in history, which was January 30th, 1966, when Alabama recorded its coldest temperature ever. The mercury plunged to 27 degrees below zero in Newmarket in Madison County. A bone-chilling record that still stands nearly 6 decades later. The extreme cold was part of a powerful Arctic outbreak that gripped much of the South, plunging Mobile to just 13 degrees. While we haven't seen these negative temperatures, the reminder is very timely today. Again, another cold blast heading our way this weekend, bringing freezing mornings and bitter wind chills. A look back at Alabama's coldest day as we prepare for another taste of winter. In global news now, parts of northern Japan saw a whopping amount of snowfall, the most it's experienced in 80 years. Heavy snow blanketing the streets of Aomori this morning. The Japanese Meteorological Agency says about 65 inches came down, a record for January in the area since 1945. Locals armed themselves with snow shovels and sleds to clear out snow from their cars and the roads. Snow advisories also went out, warning of potential damage and traffic disruptions. We're told the snowfall is expected to intensify in parts of the country, so hoping they stay warm. It's 11:21 now on your Friday. Coming up, President Trump is sending American companies to tap into Venezuela's oil. We've got the details for you after this. You're watching. Welcome back. The Trump administration says the first phase of American dominance over Venezuela's oil reserves is now underway. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has the story from Washington.
I want to thank the leadership of Venezuela. We're getting along really well.
President Trump is hoping to flip the script on Venezuela and turn a potential quagmire into a gold mine. He says big oil is now on its way to the country, looking for ways to get Venezuela's heavy crude to the United States.
We have the major oil companies going to Venezuela now, scouting it out and picking their locations, and they'll be bringing back tremendous wealth.
Just a few hours earlier, Venezuela's government approved a new law opening the country's oil sector to private investment. The Trump administration then issued new rules that allow American companies to work there.
This has been the first step to show that a united Venezuela is possible through the great objective, the happiness of our people.
Some companies like Chevron say they'll jump in right away. Others, including ExxonMobil, claim the country is still too volatile. And critics on Capitol Hill say it's a money grab that distracts from bigger issues.
Our country has grown distracted from the true threat vectors to support President Trump's reckless foreign campaign to run Venezuela and enrich big oil corporations.
But those opposed to the current regime say opening up the economy is a critical first step, and they hope it will lead to bigger reforms down the road.
I do think we could be testing the ground, but we also have a responsibility to rise to the occasion.
Venezuela says it's received $300 billion so far from oil sold by the U.S. on its behalf. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
When we return, Starbucks plans to expand. Coffee lovers, stay close for that story. Plus, the Condé Cavaliers bringing Mardi Gras early to the port city. Fox 10's Stephen Moody was with us all morning long and shows us all the fun. Hannah, folks will be out there tonight. We can't stress this enough. They have to bundle up.
Well, here is a look at your out the door forecast. It's going to be nice this weekend overall, and with cloudy conditions as well. Enjoy the warmth while it lasts, because this weekend we will be dropping into the 30s with that air temperature, and then with wind chill values in the single digits. So enjoy this nice weather, but you're going to want to make sure you bundle up by the time we get into this weekend. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
And midday, it's time for your half-hour headlines. We have new developments in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson today. A judge has thrown out a federal murder charge against alleged shooter Luigi Mangione. The ruling means federal prosecutors will not be able to seek the death penalty in the case. U.S. District Judge Margaret Garnett dismissed the federal murder charge, saying that it was technically flawed, but did leave stalking charges in place that carry a maximum of life in prison. A gun charge in this case was also dismissed. And then tense moments for ski racer Lindsey Vonn after she crashed in her final downhill just 1 week before the Winter Olympic Games start. Vonn lost control when landing a jump in low visibility in a World Cup race. She was seen limping afterwards and was airlifted away by a helicopter over the Swiss Alps. That race was later canceled after 3 of the first 6 racers also crashed as well. Vonn's Olympic status remains uncertain. Of course, once we learn more, we will update you there. And finally, a Mobile woman got quite the surprise during her Caribbean vacation when she spotted something very familiar, a Wave transit bus. Now, according to the city of Mobile, the bus was sold at auction years ago. Once sold, the city doesn't track where the buses end up. Grand Turk is a small island with just a few thousand residents and no public transit system, where vehicles are often purchased and shipped from overseas to serve the community. The city of Mobile says it's gratifying to see one of its former buses serving a new community overseas. Such a Well, we are just a few hours away from the Condé Cavaliers rolling in downtown Mobile, and we are so excited to bring you coverage once again this year. But before the parade tonight, the Cavaliers made some familiar stops. Fox 10's Stephen Moody has more on how they're trying to make sure everyone can enjoy the party.
Before they bring the party to downtown Mobile, the Kearney Cavaliers work to bring the party to those who can't make it. They made their yearly stops to see some friends at Mobile Nursing and Rehab, the Learning Center, Augusta Evans, United Cerebral Palsy, and Little Sisters of the Poor.
I've done this trip several years, and I've tried not to miss it, and this is one of my favorite spots.
They came with their own band to celebrate with beads and other classic throws. For our friends at UCP and Augusta Evans, they were glad to see them.
Being able to give back to the community, the folks that are unable to come and attend Mardi Gras, to bring Mardi Gras to them so they can have a good experience. It brings a lot of joy to us to be able to come see these kids, come see the older folks that cannot make it down there. It really pulls at our heartstrings.
Our students have been talking about it all week. We call it they're Condi ready. It's Condi Day at Augusta Evans. And so it just makes our students happy, the staff happy, and kind of kicks off Mardi Gras.
This is a great way for everyone to join in on what's sure to be a fantastic Mardi Gras season, and they're ready to let the good times roll. We've been all week,
Working down at the float barn, finishing up the floats, getting things loaded up. This is, to us, this is like this is our Super Bowl.
Stephen Moody, Fox 10 News.
I love it. So exciting there. The Mobile Police Department is also working to keep you and your family safe this Mardi Gras season. Barricades are already in place. New bollards are also up to keep cars off sidewalks. They've also deployed special roadblocks to secure streets during parades and heavy pedestrian traffic. Captain Stan Lanier with Mobile Police advises everyone to pay close attention to new street sign changes.
We have gotten rid of every traffic light that was in downtown Mobile. So there are no traffic lights down here except for the ones on Government Street. So be very vigilant when you're coming to an intersection, because you may have thought there was no stop signs there before. Now there are stop signs. We have stop signs on many of the intersections on Dolphin Street. Some of the intersections on St. Francis have new stop signs.
And a couple of other things to remember. Don't park in no parking zones because you will be towed. Don't cross barricades during parades. And if you're in a golf cart, remember you have to obey traffic laws and it must be registered with the state.
Taking another live look outside, but this time over at Fairhope Pier. You can see some of that cloud coverage starting to develop, but right now we still have some sunshine. We're enjoying the decent afternoon we're having before that Arctic blast arrived later this evening into the later parts of tonight. But right now, current conditions across the region. As you can see, we're going to take a look at our current conditions right now across the region. A little bit of cloud coverage. We're not really seeing any rain. There's a little bit of green popping up, but that's not really doing anything. That's just atmospheric moisture at this point. You can see 60 degrees in Mobile, 56 in Evergreen, and 58 degrees here in Pensacola. And that's going to basically be the story for the afternoon. Upper 50s, lower 60s across the area. But winds have picked up a little bit. West-northwest winds at 10 miles per hour in Mobile, and then north-northwest winds around 6 miles per hour in Pensacola. Feels like temperature is right where it needs to be. Dew points have gone up a little bit, but they're still in that dry category. So for our skycast today, mostly cloudy skies. We're going to be in the upper 50s, some of us in the lower 60s, especially closer to that coastline. Winds out of the north-northwest at 10 miles per hour, but wind gusts around 15 to 20 miles per hour, especially going into tonight. That's really when we start to see the increase in our wind speeds and gusts. You can see winds out of northwest at 16 miles per hour for tonight. Clouds early, but they're going to be clearing later as that front takes them out of the picture. So ahead of the front, we're having those cloud coverage. Then the front moves through, no clouds, but it's going to be really cold, 26 degrees for a temperature tonight. So here's a look at our forecast across the area. 62 in Pascagoula, 62 in Hurley, and 57 degrees over in Leakesville with mostly cloudy skies. Moving into our inland areas, we're going to have a high of 59 in Jackson, 55 in Thomasville, 56 in Fruitdale, 58 in Beatrice, 60 in Evergreen, 61 in Brewton, and 62 in Bradley. Moving into Mobile and Baldwin County, we'll have a high of 59 in Mobile, 58 in Dauphin Island, 62 in Tanner Williams, 61 in Mount Vernon, as well as Bay Minette, 62 in Robertsdale, as well as Gulf Shores, and 63 degrees over in Seminole. And then last but not least, moving into Northwest Florida, 61 in Walnut Hill, 62 in Perdido Key, 62 in Pensacola, 62 in Munson, and 61 in Fort Walton Beach. Here's a look at your parade forecast for this evening. Temperatures will begin to drop. This is at 6:30 tonight for the Conde Cavaliers parade located at Route A, 6:30 p.m. like I just said, but it's going to get a little cold though with the winds picking up. It's going to be around 49 degrees, but feeling closer to the lower 40s, maybe even the upper 30s. So definitely bundle up as you go out tonight. And temperatures are going to continue to plummet. We actually have storm tracker alert days for both Saturday and Sunday for a hard freeze and dangerous wind chill values. We have another Arctic cold blast moving through, and this one's going to be way colder than last weekend. You see this pink shading here? That's coming up from Canada and coming into our area, bringing us single digits over the weekend, even into our Sunday. Sunday morning is going to be the coldest morning, so make sure you bundle up and look up ways to stay warm with all the outdoor activities we have this weekend. As you can see, our gusts are not going to help. This is going to make it feel even colder than it actually is outside. About 30 to 35 mile per hour wind gusts by Saturday morning. Going into the afternoon, we're going to still be in that 30 to 35 mile per hour range. And then going into our Sunday, we're going to be about 20 to 25 mile per hour wind gusts. So it is going to be gusty. Would not be surprised if we have a wind advisory issued by the National Weather Service for this weekend. And then we also have that extreme cold warning as well that takes place tonight, lasting until noon on Sunday.
Hannah, thank you. And again, the cold is not just specific to the Gulf Coast. Rather, the New York City ferry service is suspended across all routes due to ice in the Hudson River. In fact, this is the coldest stretch in the city in 8 years now. The ice appears to be more on the New York side than the New Jersey side when the temperature drops below 30 and there are weak tides and a half moon, which really is a recipe for ice on the river. The only ferry that is operating right now is the Staten Island ferry because it's so much bigger than just your typical ferry. While President Trump reveals his picks to head the Federal Reserve, Saks announces big closures and Starbucks plans to expand. Fox's CJ Papa has those stories in today's Fox Business Briefs.
President Trump announces his pick to head the Federal Reserve, nominating Kevin Warsh as the next Fed chair. Warsh was a member of the Federal Reserve's board from 2006 through 2011 and was the youngest governor in history when he was appointed at the age of 35. Warsh would replace current chair Jerome Powell when his term ends in May. President Trump appointed Powell back in 2017, but has been highly critical of him over the last year for not cutting interest rates fast enough. Warsh's record shows he typically supports higher interest rates to control inflation. His nomination will require Senate confirmation. The majority of Saks Off Fifth locations are set to close nationwide after the company filed for bankruptcy earlier this month. Saks Global making the announcement that nearly 70 stores will close up shop. According to a court filing, both the e-commerce and physical stores are expected to lose $139 million in its latest fiscal year. Saks Global says the stores that will remain open will be a means to get rid of unsold inventory from Saks Fifth Avenue, Neiman Marcus, and Bergdorf Goodman. Meanwhile, Starbucks has announced their plans to open hundreds of new locations across the country and give thousands of their current cafes a bit of a facelift by adding more seating. The company says they hope these updates emphasize their locations as community hubs. 175 new locations are expected to open this year, with 400 more planned for 2028. All this just 4 months after the company announced it would close hundreds of less profitable stores. CJ Papa, Fox News.
And new today, we have an important recall to share with you. Bottles of MindBody Green's Ultimate Multivitamin Plus dietary supplement are being taken off the shelves. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the bottles do not have proper child-resistant packaging. MindBody Green is offering free child-resistant replacement caps to customers. Thankfully, no illnesses or serious incidents have been reported. If you want more information on this, visit cpsc.gov. It's 11:41 on your Friday. Coming up on the show, the Senior Bowl is happening tomorrow, and we are highlighting a former Blunt star after the break. It's a story you won't want to miss. Happy Friday. You're watching Fox 10 Midday. Tomorrow is is a big day for one Blount High School football player. He's getting ready to hit the field in his hometown one more time at this weekend's Senior Bowl. Defensive tackle Lee Hunter has been impressing scouts and coaches alike through Senior Bowl week thanks to his size and his pass rush skills. Hunter began his college career at Auburn before transferring to UCF, where he made the All-Big 12 team in 2 out of 3 seasons there. Hunter finished his career this year with another strong season at Texas Tech. And Hunter says being back home for the Senior Bowl is the perfect way to close out his college career.
We've been watching this game since we was kids. Dream finally came true back here to play in the city and compete in front of my hometown. It's such a blessing. I'm very grateful, thankful for this opportunity, and feel good to be back in my hometown.
Yeah, Hunter and the national team will take on the American team in the Senior Bowl tomorrow at Hancock Whitney Stadium. Kickoff for that game is set for 1:30. And the final day of practice at the Panini Senior Bowl wrapped up just hours ago, and 2 Auburn Tigers took full advantage of the opportunity. Offensive lineman Jeremiah Wright and edge rusher Kayron Crawford spent the week showcasing their skills in front of several NFL coaches and scouts. For Wright and Crawford, this week was all about making every single rep count. Wright, a Selma, Alabama native, brought physicality to the offensive line, working through run and pass protection drills in front of league decision makers. On the other side of the ball, Kayron Crawford used the week to show his versatility. And as practice comes to a close today, both Tigers know this opportunity could change their lives.
It just means a lot for me. Just be a blessing, just, be able to show those guys and, not guys, but everybody back at home, just being that light and showing the kids back at home is more to just, being itself. You can go out there and compete, put on for your hometown, and just whatever you put your mind to, you can do it.
With 2 of Auburn's best hoping their week of work earns them a shot at the next level. Hannah, one of the coldest Senior Bowls on record this year for sure.
I know, I'm not really happy saying it, but unfortunately it is going to be a cold one this weekend. And here's a look at the Fox 10 weather app where it says 61 degrees right now, which you're going to want to enjoy that while it lasts because that's going to be basically cut in half for our Saturday. Also, I thought this would be a fun reminder to make sure you submit your pics and videos, whether you're at the parades, the Senior Bowl, or just something just to show us how you bundle up for the cold. That can be featured on the 3 p.m. show, Fox 10 Live, or on our social media pages to help educate people on how to bundle up for this weather. Now, speaking of the cold, we have storm tracker alert days in place. The main threat is going to be a hard freeze and dangerous wind chill values taking place Saturday as well as Sunday. So here's a look at that extreme cold warning that takes place tonight and lasts until noon on Sunday for a hard freeze and dangerously cold wind chill values below 10 degrees, especially on Sunday morning, when most of us will be in the single digits. So the biggest impacts will be long duration. Hard freeze could cause impacts to your pipes, and there's a lot of activities going on this weekend, so make sure you bundle up because hypothermia does become a concern. So here's some weather tips. This is the cold weather tips. Remember the 4 P's, which are people, pets, plants, as well as your pipes. Make sure for people you bundle up and check on neighbors without reliable heat. For your pets, remember if you can feel it, they can feel it as well. So bring them inside and protect your livestock. For plants, protect them or cover them. Bring sensitive plants inside or use a sheet. And then for your pipes, wrap and drip them. Insulate exposed pipes and let the faucets drip overnight, especially on Sunday. Now here's how to keep warm. A lot of people are going to be out and about, especially for the Senior Bowl and the parade starting tonight. So here's some tips on how to dress warm, especially since we don't have access to winter jackets and stuff like that. So make sure you layer up. Thermal and insulated layers are highly recommended, or just layer up. Use your windbreaker to help with the wind. That will definitely be something you want to have. A lot of us do have those with how windy it gets here along the Gulf Coast. And just layer up. Long sleeves, tight fitted clothing will help. Sweatshirts and whatever thick jacket you can find. Make sure you cover exposed skin, especially on your face, your head, and your hands. So hat, gloves, scarves, or face coverings to help prevent heat loss in your body. And then keep your hands and feet dry. So warm socks, boots, and gloves are recommended. Then make sure you take heated breaks going inside and don't be outside for prolonged periods of time. So make sure you take a picture of this, especially if you're going out and about. But here's a look outside right now of our cloudy skies on our battleship camera. We'll be right back with more Fox 10 Midday.
Welcome back into Fox 10 Midday. New research suggests genetics could play a greater role in how long you live than previously thought. A new study published in the journal Science just yesterday says a person's genes could determine up to half of their longevity. Previous estimates say genetics contributed from 6% to 33% of a person's overall lifespan. However, researchers are saying many of these studies did not consider deaths by external factors like injuries, infectious diseases, or environmental conditions. This new approach allowed scientists to get a more accurate estimate of the effect of genetics on lifespan, and the researchers emphasize that lifestyle choices like diet and exercise still contribute to a long and healthy life. Interesting studies there. Well, a study of a lake that turned frozen and then turned green reveals some troubling suggestions as to the possible cause. Jeremy Roth has the story in Friday's Take a Look at This.
A frozen lake that turned a bizarre shade of green may be a surreal sight for winter-weary eyes, but scientists say it could point to causes more concerning. Newly released images of Lake Lipno, located in the Czech Republic, were shared online by the Biology Center of the Czech Academy of Sciences, which says the water's crazy color is due to a toxic blue-green algae called cyanobacteria blooms, which typically occur during the summer but usually clear up by autumn. However, the scientists believe weeks of persistent sunshine and calm weather allowed the bacterial biomass to linger to the end of the year. And while the catalyst may be natural, the suspected causes are not so much. Researchers suggest industrial activities, agricultural runoff, municipal waste, and other human-led activities could be driving the algae. If there's a silver lining to the lake's mossy lining, there are very few scientific records of this under-ice phenomenon worldwide, which means Lake Lipno will rank among the best documented cases globally, and that should make other hydrobiologists green with envy. Another body of water had a very strange green sheen on its surface, but this one was very purposeful. Video of a live alligator straight chillin' in some frozen water was shared on Facebook by the Gator Country Adventure Park in Beaumont, Texas. KHOU reports the reptile's stagnant state is called brumation, where it slows its heart rate way down, allowing it to ride out the freezing temps just below the surface. Finally, a van in New York City found itself in an unnatural frozen state after a pipe in the Bronx burst, causing a frigid waterfall that ended up encasing the vehicle in ice. Crews were seen doing their best to dig out and thaw out the giant ice cube on wheels. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
So much ice.
You're
That's
gonna
crazy.
need an ice pick to just get that vehicle just like.
It's wild. It's wild seeing everything that's frozen right now too. I mean, it's all across the board.
I mean, thankfully it's not raining, but that's what our water fountains are probably going to look like this weekend.
Oh, that's true. All right, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. We got to talk about it. So right now for our Friday overall, you're going to want to enjoy the warmth that we're having today. We're going to be in the upper 50s, lower 60s in some areas, but you could see the steps going down. Yeah, that cold front is heading to us quite quickly tonight, and that's going to cause a severe drop in temperatures, 40 degrees by 11 p.m., but you can see those wind gusts increasing as well. So actually the winds are going to make it feel a lot colder than the actual air temperature outside. And speaking of the cold, that Arctic air comes in, so we do have 2 storm tracker alert days for both Saturday as well as Sunday for extreme wind chill values. You're reading that correctly. 37 degrees for a high on Saturday. That's not even taking into account the actual feels like temperature, which will be between 20 and 25 degrees if we're lucky, because wind gusts are between 20 and 35 miles per hour, maybe even some hours of the day getting to 40 mile per hour wind gusts. So make sure you wear multiple layers for your Saturday as well as your Sunday. We have the Panini Bowl this weekend as well as plenty of parades, so you're going to want to make sure you bundle up and take breaks in the warmth as well. Then here's a look at your Sunday. Hard freeze in the morning, 20-degree low in Mobile, but single-digit wind chill temperatures. Yes, it's going to feel like 5 degrees in our northern counties and 8 degrees in Mobile County. And then even at the coastline is going to be below 10 degrees as well. So cold throughout the entirety of the weekend. So we have those storm tracker alert days in place for Saturday and Sunday. Like I mentioned, for those conditions, dangerous wind chill values, make sure you prepare and protect the 4 Ps, which are people, pets, plants, as well as your pipes. So here's that extreme cold. And we actually have that extreme cold warning as well.
Wow. Yeah, these temperatures, nothing to mess around with. Be safe this weekend and enjoy a little bit of warmth today. We'll be back with Fox 10 Live at 3. We will see you then.